There's a way to make an entrance.
This is my destiny.
It was now a conspiracy of witches.
Download Veely today.
I just feel so sorry for her.
You are underweight, aren't you, darling?
They can't continue to live like this.
Across the country are people who've dedicated their lives rushing to rescue any animal in trouble.
Oh, mate! Yeah, it's coming, it's coming. Oh, go on, mate. Hi, friend.
And helping stamp out cruelty and neglect.
Hello, sunshine.
That's not looking good. You can't stay here.
She's not going to kill the cow.
But what does it take to actually become an RSPCA inspector?
You've done so well to get here.
Now let's see how good this group really is.
In this series, we're following the latest batch of trainees as they're pushed to the limit, hoping to pass the rigorous tests to qualify for the role.
It's absolutely killed me inside.
The students are now over halfway through the course
Agree about you.
and about to face their toughest challenge yet, taking the lead on real cases.
Yeah, so that's not normal.
I think it's trying to, limit the bird's flight.
They'll face a series of make-or-break tests down on the farm and learn that when it comes to pets, it's not all about cats and dogs.
Did not expect 2 meerkats living in a terrace house in the middle of a city centre.
If they can't make the grade,
It is literally pass or fail.
Oh, God.
they'll be sent home.
It's really important that you get it right.
So, can these ordinary people
Have I got everybody?
survive an extraordinary year of training?
Don't let go. Oh my God, okay.
Under constant pressure, to seize the chance of a lifetime and land their dream job.
Nice one.
I'm about to give up.
See you at graduation.
It's springtime, and the students are now 5 months into the course.
If you think about where you were back in October, and here we are now in sunny April, so not much left of the course now, is there?
They've already been out, shadowing inspectors on real-life cases, experiencing for the first time how challenging the role can be.
Out of my comfort zone, I won't lie.
But things are about to get a lot tougher. They're going back out on the road, but this time, the students are in charge, their performance scrutinized by tutors.
Think about your last period of field training. How much more do you know now? You learn all the theory, but until you actually go out there and start putting it into practice, it's all going to seem a little bit unreal. OK?
If any fail to reach the high standards demanded for the job, they could be off the course.
It's really important for the students to know how to lead on real cases, because that's what they're going to be doing every day as an inspector. For many of the students, this is going to be a real challenge. What we're looking for now is seeing that confidence in order to be able to knock on the door, assess the situation and give advice without relying on somebody else.
Tutor Inspector Beth Boyd has been tasked with assessing 23-year-old trainee Nat, who quit her job as an estate agent to work for the charity.
I found myself walking around viewings carrying someone's poodle, and that was the highlight of my day. And that was when I was like, yeah, I'm going back to my animals. And then 2 years later, we're here. I knew it was going to be a hard year and a lot of work, but it is going to be worth it in the end, so.
The two are in Birmingham and on their way to one of Nat's first cases as lead inspector.
Do you want to just read what the job says?
Yeah, so it says, cooler is at location and can see plastic traps which look homemade with pigeons inside.
Having just passed her wildlife exams with flying colours, the mystery of 2 birds found ensnared on a building site should prove the perfect case for Nat.
Honestly, I was poring and poring over the wildlife legislation. I was like, I will not fail this exam. I will not do badly in this exam.
It's just so much to learn, isn't it?
Yeah.
There are laws against catching and keeping wild birds. If these have been broken, those responsible could face prosecution.
Hello. Are you Andy? Hiya. I'm Inspector Kitchen. Natalie, hiya.
How you doing? Can I show you where they are?
Yeah.
When the contractor first came across these boxes at the top of this 8-story building, there were 2 pigeons trapped inside.
Were they both in there?
They were both in there, yeah.
And then, so when you lifted it, did the other one just sort of scarp over?
Yeah, scarp that.
Yeah.
One of the birds has escaped.
Hello, sweetie. Oh.
And given half a chance,
Look at that. Where'd you go?
the other pigeon wouldn't mind escaping too. But for some reason can't.
That was graceful.
All right, sweetie. I got it.
Yeah, so that's not normal. The pigeons got blue tape on their wings here, which just isn't normal. We think it's trying to limit the bird's flight, but it's definitely not a conventional method.
Further investigation reveals a security guard is claiming ownership of the birds, but he's given no reason as to why they've been taped up.
It was a contracts manager around the security firm. They've asked one of the security guards, and he said, yeah, they're my pigeons.
So they're his pigeons?
Well, he's saying that they're his pigeons.
Okay.
Yeah. There's little areas of bread scattered around the job.
What, as if he's trying to catch more?
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really, I feel like we need to speak to this owner.
Yeah.
It turns out the other pigeon hasn't gone far, as its wing has also been taped up.
Right down the bottom, in the bottom of the lift shaft. See the white one?
Crikey.
You not want to look down there.
8 stories is a long way to fall, but despite the drop,
I feel like we should have brought a net.
the bird remarkably seems to have survived without injury.
And there's the years of experience for you.
Hello, sweetie.
Pretty good.
You're lovely, aren't you?
All feels normal this side. Aside from the wings, he seems to be in good condition. I mean, he doesn't feel too underweight or anything like that. Seems quite bright looking around.
Although both pigeons appear unharmed,
Just get close up there.
All right, mate.
the fact these wild birds have been held captive is still breaking the law.
Make sure that foot opens, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's essential Nat gets hold of the man responsible. Nat and the other trainees are being taught a valuable lesson.
Hello, I'm from the RSPCA.
As inspectors, they must expect the unexpected. Every 30 seconds, someone calls the charity's emergency number.
Hello, how can I help?
We will get an officer there as soon as we can.
And these jobs get sent to the nearest inspector.
Can you bring up incident 1100 of today, please?
But often there's not many details to go on.
They said reservoir. I can't think where there's a reservoir.
Can you tell me what the sort of full allegation is or description?
With no punctuation. Unknown who knows is tethered on ground kicking legs.
Is that it? Is that what we've got?
I mean, reservoirs are normally quite big.
Okie dokie, that's smashing. Thanks very much. No idea.
The students are learning they must be quick to think on their feet, whatever case comes their way.
Hang on, I don't. Yeah, I missed it. What was it?
A couple of meerkats kicking off with each other, living in dirty conditions in Warrington.
Okay. Right. This is a good one.
29-year-old Debs is in her hometown of Manchester, her performance assessed by Inspector Alison Fletcher. Despite having already worked for the charity, even Debs is shocked by what she must do to land her dream job.
I would never have predicted that RSPCA inspector training was anything like this. I feel like they've trained me to do everything.
What are your thoughts on that?
It's not filthy. I suppose legally then needs are being met.
You get so many calls each day and it could be for absolutely anything.
I know.
You don't know whether it's going to be a small, cute domestic or a crazy wild animal. It's pretty terrifying.
Tutor Allison needs to know if Debs really is ready to deal with any animal that may need help, even ones more usually found in the Kalahari Desert.
Don't be put off because you don't know a lot about meerkats. Ultimately, it all still boils down to the Animal Welfare Act and are they meeting its needs?
Yeah.
If an inspector decides an animal's needs are not being met, they can begin the process of getting it seized and handed over to the charity.
Hiya, sorry, Staffy. I had a call about meerkats.
Owner Lillian's home is full of these little critters. But it's only Tosca and Oleg that she and grandson Mark need help with.
So tell me about your meerkats. How long have you had them?
I've had them 4 or 5 years now. I just saw them on television. As soon as I saw them, that was it. I just took to them. And then I saw them in pet shop, and that was it.
In the wild, meerkats can roam in territories the size of 370 football pitches, which is a lot more room than Tosca and Oleg have.
It's pretty barren in there. There's just very little enrichment in that cage. We've seen them sit on that shelf and do digging behaviour, and there's nothing for them to dig in and roll around in.
Because it's such a small environment for them. So I can't stand and say that I think this is right. It just is not enough space. All of the behaviour that they display in there, to me, that's quite a stressed behaviour. It's not right.
The last decade has seen an increase in the number of meerkats being sold in the UK.
People see them as cute, cuddly pets in the adverts.
I mean, not. No, they're not.
But despite this rise in popularity, these animals aren't exactly the perfect pet.
They will grab your face if you've got rings or whatever, facial piercings or anything, they will grab you.
Yeah, and will do you a lot of damage.
The female is vicious towards other people. If your colleague here went over and stroked her, she'd probably more like to take your fingers off.
Right, well, I won't test that out today. I'll keep my fingers away.
I've learned nothing about this job is black and white at all. There's too many variables. You just don't know how you're going to deal with strange situations. So there is no black and white. It is only ever shades of grey.
How this is right now, I feel terribly sad for them.
Yeah.
The question is, what's the solution? Give Lillian a chance to turn things around, or try to take the animals into care?
We're not doubting that you love them and you're looking after them. You can see they're clean. It's just making the environment suitable for the species that they are.
Hello. You're beautiful, aren't you?
Across the country, the trainee RSPCA inspectors are out on the street.
Is this your cat?
Taking the lead, working real-life cases.
Hello.
A bit dirty, isn't it?
Their performance assessed by tutors. If they can't reach the high standards expected of them, they could be off the course. In Birmingham, Nat's keen to meet the man claiming ownership of 2 pigeons found in traps with their wings taped up, and tutor Beth will be evaluating her work.
Hello. Hi there. This is just Inspector Kitchen calling from the RSPCA.
Yeah, RSPCA, what's up then?
I'm just calling in regards to a couple of birds. People seem to be under the impression that they belong to yourself. Is that correct?
Yeah. These are mine.
Do you think you would be able to pop down and meet us? Because we just want to have a chat about the way they've been kept. Do you think you'd be able to do that for me? People skills are key in the role of an inspector, really. I think it's the #1 thing listed on the job description.
I keep 2 pigeons. I know what to do.
Yeah, so I understand...
My whole life I keep the pigeons, you know.
I understand that you've been keeping pigeons your whole life. I can be quite persuasive if I want to be. Really, we do need you to come down so we can have a chat with you, and otherwise I think we're going to have to get the police out and have them help us. Oh, I'm a pain in the arse, if I'm being honest. It's just much easier for everyone if you just come down yourself.
Okay, I take 1 hour.
Yep, okay, lovely. We'll wait here.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Oh, brill. Well
Wonderful.
done. I didn't think he was going to come.
Nor
then,
did
well
I.
done.
I really didn't think he was going to come.
Fab.
But...
It's a real coup. Nat's gentle coaxing should now ensure she can get to the bottom of this mystery.
Hi, yeah, I'm Natalie, so I'm an inspector for the RSPCA. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Beth.
Don't give me hard time, okay?
No, we just...
I have 2 pigeons. In whole my life, I keep the pigeon back in my country. I know what to do. I love animals.
With 400 million feral pigeons worldwide, they're not exactly endangered.
So after you.
Okay.
But here in the UK, there are rules against catching and trapping any wild bird.
Take easy. I didn't kill someone.
But it is an offence to take a wild bird under the Wildlife and Countryside Act.
How long ago was it that you took the birds?
This, I think, 3 days.
3 days,
Yeah.
okay.
I keep this from 1 week until they know this area. And after 1 week, I free them. And they fly and come back. I love animals. I love pigeon. That's it.
I think it could just be a case of it's the different rules and legislation different from how it is in Iran.
Take easy.
So
That's it. I didn't know I can get the pigeon.
Putting it down to a cultural misunderstanding, Nat decides all this pigeon fancier needs is a warning.
we really do appreciate you coming down, and for your cooperation and for helping us. So it does mean a lot that you have helped. So thank you very much.
I'm not killer.
No,
we
no.
understand that. I'm not saying you are.
It's a result for the birds, and also Nat, who has impressed her tutor.
She was brilliant. She kept him calm and got him to cooperate, so good stuff.
When you come across a job that doesn't have an obvious solution, you have to investigate and you have to make some inquiries. There you go, sweetness. You have to be a bit of a consulting detective. You're a bit more sensitive, aren't you? God, that's got to feel better though, hasn't it? It's always quite satisfying to get to the bottom of a call and work out what's going on and be able to complete and close at the end of it. All right, go on, mate. Bye, friend. Lovely. What a nice, happy ending.
Back with Tosca and Oleg, 2 meerkats in need of a better home. Debs and Alison have come to a decision over whether to try and take the pets into care.
They are sold as pets, whether or not that's right or wrong, there's no law that says you can't keep them. But it's not right,
Oh,
is
no,
it?
I totally agree, it's not right.
What there is a law is the Animal Welfare Act that states you have to meet their needs.
Yeah.
Well, what we're going to do, I'm going to issue you a notice that's basically going to advise you that at the moment we don't feel what's being provided here is enough. What I'd really like you to do, ring an exotics vet and talk it through with them, what they think you should be providing for them. Right, we'll leave this with you. We'll pop back on Thursday and then we'll go from there.
Lillian and Mark have been given a week to turn things around, or they may be asked to sign the meerkats over to the charity's care.
So how do you feel about that one?
Frustrated. It's an impossible situation, isn't it?
They've chosen to have exotic pets. They should have gone away and done every bit of research possible. And the hope is, when he goes away and does that, we're going to rethink this, because it's not suitable. They can't stay like that.
The case has certainly proven a bit of a head-scratcher, in more ways than one.
Is meerkat spelled M-E-R-R-K-A-T?
I'm going to Google it. If all else fails. M-E-E-R-K-A-T.
Yes. Phew. That was my main concern.
Like Debs and her meerkats, not every complaint gets dealt with in the first visit. In fact, many begin with an unanswered knock at the door.
No, nobody's coming.
1 million calls were made to the RSPCA last year. Of these, more than 33,000 related to animals left unattended. 31-year-old Jess, a former hospital lab technician, is in Manchester being shown the procedure for dealing with possible abandonment.
I always knock on neighbours' doors. If there's people around, I ask them, what do you know?
Yeah.
Is there an animal here?
Yeah.
And you can usually find out a lot more than what you think.
If there's concern an animal's been abandoned,
I'm not hearing anything.
and there's no answer, the property gets taped up.
This will become second nature. This is a lot of our work.
If the tape's still unbroken when inspectors return, this is proof no one's been to look after the animal inside.
It's all just to tell if someone's been back.
Yeah.
So there's not much more we can do or find out while we're here.
Having seen how it's done, tutor Danny decides Jess is ready to take the lead on their next job.
It's white Staffy. Left for long periods in front room, very undernourished and very thin. Can see ribs, backbone and hips.
It doesn't take the pair long to work out which house they've been called to.
Oh. Hi, look at you. I know. She's a little bit lean.
With no one in,
I'll just get the tape, hold on.
Jess seals up the home.
I've seen the pros in action, and I'm pretty much just copying their technique.
If her tape's left intact after several days, Jess can ask the police to break in so she can rescue the dog.
It's 72 hours that we tape it up for. It can be upsetting and frustrating to see an animal that's being left on its own. You just want to get them out. Unfortunately, we can't, and we have to follow a process, and it's just the way we work.
You're gorgeous, aren't you? If you can't take care of her, it'd be nice to get her a new home where she's walked and looked after properly.
So with the house sealed up and a note left asking the owner to call, Jess has done all she can for now.
So if he gets in contact by tomorrow, at least he's going once a day.
Yeah.
And then we can speak to him about the dog, see if he wants to rehome it or he's going to start taking better care of it.
Worst case is you don't come back for 4 days and it ends up in co-work.
A key part of handling real-life cases is knowing how to control the animals they may encounter. Course leader Edwina is sending the class to Sparsholt Agricultural College in Hampshire for an assessment in livestock handling.
The inspectors need to be able to deal with any animal in danger, even livestock. Dealing with farm animals does carry a lot of risk. As they're bigger, they can do you more damage. So understanding how you handle those animals is vital.
900 million animals are farm-reared in the UK each year.
Hey there, you.
Inspectors must be competent and confident around all of them, ready to rush to the rescue of any that find themselves in trouble. For their first assessment, the class are working with these little guys, who are routinely weighed throughout their lives to ensure they're in good health.
Pop them into the scales and lower them down. And then we can shut the door. 6 kilograms. Yep, that's it.
Helping with the animal's daily routine will give the students a chance to improve their livestock handling skills. But to really put them through their paces, Bob Clay, who's been teaching here for nearly 30 years, wants the trainees to work with something bigger.
So, yeah, if you two go in and chase them out, I'll stand over here.
This is ridiculous.
With each animal weighing in at around 85 kilos, herding them onto the scales takes a lot of persuasion.
I need a stronger board. Oh, lovely.
That's it. Only 2 there.
Eventually, the group get through weighing all the pigs. except one. Jess works out at the gym 5 times a week, but even she's being out-muscled.
Come on. Just go forward. When it doesn't want to go in, it doesn't want to go in. Unless you ride it, I don't know. Anyone else want to jump in?
Fellow trainee Becky decides to take up the challenge.
Knees behind it.
Finally, everyone joins in.
OK, he's facing in the right direction, so maybe he might be get lucky.
Even tutor Bob.
It's not having any of it.
No, I can't do it.
Perhaps we will give up on this one. This one is clearly doesn't want to be weighed.
Apart from the pig-headed one that got away, the students have impressed.
You work together as a team, don't you? So that's good. You handle them really well, you know, confidently. So, yeah, well done.
The job of an RSPCA inspector is to safeguard the welfare of any animal found in England and Wales. Throughout their training, the group have been taught how to assess the health and well-being of a diverse range of animals.
I would never recommend you pick one up with your bare hands.
But there's one that gets itself into danger more than any other.
Sheep have a fantastic ability to get themselves into the wrong situation and not get out of it. So inspectors need to be able to handle them in order to get them out of that situation. They have to feel confident doing that.
Last year, over 300 calls were received about livestock in need of help. Many involved sheep. So it's crucial the group gain confidence working with these animals.
So cute. Hello.
But the students are about to find out handling these little ones' parents isn't quite so easy.
We tell the age of a sheep by looking at its teeth. This one is a young sheep. She's got baby teeth and 2 brought teeth.
John Britton, a sheep farmer with half a century of teaching behind him, has been called in to assess the group.
That'll do. Righto. What you're going to do is you're going to go and get this lamb, and if you get it under its neck, can you see? And so what I'm doing is I turn its head and I just push backwards and I say, please, sheep, go over. And they will go over and we can start to check it.
That's how a pro does it. But now it's the students' turn to try sheep wrestling.
It's so hard.
OK, that's right, Pan. That's right, bend its head round.
So far, it seems it's the sheep who have the upper hand.
Why don't you go down? Get down.
Until rugby-loving Becky gets to grips with the technique.
And if you bring it out this way a bit, so it's out from the rest of the sheep. OK, oh, you've got it. Well done. Excellent. Oh. And you see, it'll just sit there. Now, can you tell us what you were doing then?
I don't know what I was doing.
Oh. Well, what you were doing is you turned its head, but you were also pushing with your hand at the other time.
And with a bit more practice,
that's it.
It's not long before everyone masters the skill and completes their handling assessment.
Excellent, brilliant.
It's definitely been eye-opening with how much you have to know. I genuinely can't think of a job where the volume of stuff and the breadth of stuff you have to know is so huge.
Some people have had experience dealing with farm animals and stuff. I've had none. They're pretty strong, a lot stronger than you think, but I'll still be going to the gym.
Every week of training is a new surprise. Every time we pass, I'm like, yes, I'm slowly transforming into some kind of animal superhero.
Oh, we can have the heat on a little bit today.
As a treat.
Yeah.
Having passed their handling assessment, the students are that bit closer to finishing their training.
It's a mango.
Right, thank you.
But they still need to prove they can handle taking control on real-life cases if they're to qualify as inspectors.
So yeah, it's a bit of a baptism of fire, this.
In Manchester, Jess and tutor Danny are returning to the housebound dog.
I don't know if I read it or someone told me that outside of London, Manchester was the worst place for animal cruelty.
But I always think it must be nice to work somewhere like Cornwall.
Yeah.
And it just seems like it must be a different job.
After finding her note, Neil, the owner, has called. Thankfully, Cleo hasn't been abandoned. But Neil is struggling to cope and has agreed to sign Cleo over.
I'm just going to get my sign-over form, Jess.
With trainee Jess taking the lead, she'll be responsible for going through the handover process.
In you go.
Thank you.
Leaving Danny free to assess whether Jess meets her high standards.
Do you know if she's lived with children before?
She's okay with kids as well. I've been told she's okay with kids, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
I've had her not that long, actually, probably about a month or so.
Is she quite well behaved? Or
she's hyper.
Yeah. Is she destructive in the house, or is she quite well behaved?
She does chew stuff, yeah.
Yeah. If you could just sign at the bottom, just to say that's the information you've given.
There you go.
With formalities over,
Good girl.
it's time for walkies.
Hello, Cleo.
You sit steady and nugget.
You've made the right decision, I'm telling you.
Yeah, she's going to do great.
Okay, bye. Just see if she needs the toilet, Jess. Okay. Just let her walk round a little bit.
Are we? No. Where are you going?
Cleo's clearly happy to be out, but doesn't take her chance to have a toilet break.
She's not doing anything.
Yeah, all right, we'll shove her in.
So it's time for a trip across town to the vets.
I think she's gone in the van. Has she gone now?
I can smell something. I was like, have I stood in something?
No, it's her. It's either going to be wind or she's gone. Oh, this is when that smell drifts through to the front of the van, your whole heart sinks.
The question is, has Cleo left a present in her cage, or was the stink just indigestion?
Okay, this is where you say a little prayer that my kennel's not.
Oh.
You're a good girl. You've travelled well. Yes, we could smell some smells, but it's thankfully nothing there.
Everyone breathes a sigh of relief.
Wait a minute, Cleo.
There's no mess to clean up.
Come on.
Cleo now just needs a checkup by one of the charity's vets before she can look forward to being rehomed.
You can see around her eyes how it's a little bit red around all the edges. She's got a little bit of conjunctivitis as well. These are classically allergic signs in dogs. It's very likely she's allergic to something. So we'll start with fleas, we'll rule that out and we'll go from there.
Apart from a mild skin complaint, Cleo's in rude health. It's the news Jess and Danny were hoping to hear.
So it's a really happy ending. She'll hopefully just get treated for her skin problems, neutered, and then off to a rehoming centre.
Where she will get snapped up.
Cleo's just one of 130,000 dogs who need rehoming each year.
Cleo, this way, come on.
Hopefully, this one will find her forever home soon.
Bye, Cleo. Good luck, mate.
And it's not just a happy ending for Cleo. Jess has impressed Assessor Danny during their time together.
Hiya, you all right? We're from the RSPCA.
She's not fazed by any animal that we've had to rescue, have signed over.
What's her name?
Nala.
Nala. How old is she?
6 months now.
6 months.
She just gets on with it. She's definitely got a nice way of dealing with people about her. And I think she possesses a lot of qualities that are going to set her in good stead to be a good inspector.
In Liverpool, time's come for Debs and tutor Alison to pay a return visit to Tosca and Oleg.
Right, let's go.
Two frustrated meerkats in need of a much better home.
We know she loves these creatures, but we still need to make it absolutely clear to her that we're saying how she's keeping them isn't acceptable.
Lillian and grandson Mark have been given a week to improve the meerkats' lives.
Right, I'll let you do the knock.
If they haven't, Debs must begin the process of seizing the animals.
Hiya. Come to chat to you about the meerkats.
Unfortunately, downstairs, Tosca and Oleg are still in their tiny cage. But upstairs, Mark's got a surprise in store.
I want to show you guys something.
Yeah.
This is what's been built for them to stay in.
Crikey.
My gosh.
Like you guys said, there wasn't enough room. I said to me on that day, listen, right, what we're going to do today is we're going to basically go out, do a bit of research and basically build something that's malleable, because this bedroom isn't being used anymore. We moved back to Fonchester Zoo because we couldn't find anyone.
It's hard, isn't it? Yeah.
It's really hard.
On their last visit, Debs and Alison advised Mark to speak to an expert. Well, he's obviously done that.
We've gone and got a vivarium bulb as well, which is a UV lamp.
Super.
Which is what they told us basically using that. The bloke in Chester Zoo as well said buy the play sand, because it's been filled out for children's play, which is less, there's no like bits in it and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's not finished nowhere near finished yet.
Yeah.
But at the moment, like, it's just a case of just getting everything built up, so it's, you know, I'd say probably about that high sand-wise.
Yeah.
Mark's handiwork proves he's trying, but there are concerns over its size, and that's not the only thing.
They need to be digging all the time. They need a tunnelling system. They need individual nesting boxes that they can go to. And in terms of enrichment, rocks, things like that, and foliage as well, they just need something to dig, forage and root through.
It's a step forward, but Mark still has a big challenge if he's to meet the meerkats' needs.
I'm so taken aback by this. I was not expecting this at all. I still can't stand here and say to you, I think it's right for a meerkat to be in a pet environment, but I really appreciate what you've done.
Debs and Alison decide to give Mark a bit more time and then return for another visit to make a final decision over the future of Tosca and Oleg.
We'll leave you to it, Lillian.
All right, then. Take care of yourself, all right? How did you feel about that, then?
It was a bit of a shock.
I was gobsmacked.
Yeah. Did not expect to walk in to see essentially some kind of enclosure zoo thing being built in someone's spare room. Still a lot of work for them to do. It's still not ideal. We would still not advocate 2 meerkats living in a terrace house in the middle of a city centre.
Today, you've given good advice. You've not been disrespectful to him. You've not tried to criticise them or make them feel guilty about how they're doing it. I think this is credit to you, how this has gone. You did a really good job with that one. You should be proud.
Thanks.
The students have nearly completed all the practical training they'll need as inspectors. But they still have to tackle one of their most emotionally challenging classes at West Hatch Wildlife Centre in Somerset. Over 18,000 injured wild animals are brought to the charity each year. Many get nursed back to health, but others are beyond help.
Inspectors want to prevent animals suffering or stop suffering, and sometimes the only way to do that is to euthanize an animal. It is a challenge and it's a difficult thing to get through, but I think the students will realise once they see animals that are in a suffering state that being able to euthanize them is actually a relief.
OK, do you want to come in?
Teaching them how to humanely put an animal to sleep is David Cooper, who's been a vet at West Hatch for 15 years.
So this is beta-barbital sodium, so this is what we use to put animals to sleep. Basically, it's a very powerful anaesthetic. We're trying to make the animal unconscious as quickly as possible when we're giving this, because after it's unconscious, it's not suffering from stress or fear or pain anymore. And the quickest way to do that is by giving it intravenously. So I would hold my bottle upside down so the fluid's at that end, put that in through the middle there, and then draw back what you need. But there's not much more to it than that.
Each year, the charity's wildlife centres take in more than 13,000 injured birds. Unfortunately, many are past saving and must be put to sleep. But it means there's plenty to practice on. Like this owl, euthanized because it carried a deadly parasite.
Barbara's got good control of his feet. She's going to tip him forward. By tipping him forward, that makes his liver fall against his body wall so that it's just underneath the skin, so it's just there, basically. Once I've felt with my thumb where the end of the keel is, I'm just going to go in at that sort of angle and inject like that and back out.
The group are given as much experience as possible, rehearsing on a huge range of already deceased birds.
I'm glad she's got good aim. We've got to tilt it back a little bit.
But things are about to get a lot more real for the students when a badly injured swan is brought into the centre.
We'll give him a look over. Do we know what's happened to him? It looks like it's hit paralysis. Yeah, but do you know why? No. Oh. He must have hit paralysis. He's got very nasty injuries to his wing there. It's already quite infected and unpleasant. Unfortunately, it's beyond the point that we'll be able to get it better again.
It's decided the swan's injuries are too severe to treat.
But this bit here is the vein that runs down the inside of the leg. So I take his foot in my left hand, put it nice and flush to his leg, so it's flat like that, so it's not sitting at a big angle. So he should go quite quickly. Okay, that's fine. He's never seen it before, it's a bit disturbing. He's not aware of what's going on.
With the swan now put to sleep, it gives the students the opportunity to practice a different technique used on bigger birds.
We push it further forward, yeah.
I can't, its toes in the way.
Yeah, and try and draw back and see if you're getting blood. Yeah, there you go.
I know it's the right thing to do. It's in pain, but you want to make sure you get it in the right place. You want it to kind of pass as quickly as possible, so it's just put out completely instantly. I don't want it to be prolonged for any longer. It's just the kindest thing to do.
You'll get better control if you're working with it like that. Yep.
Yeah. Although it's not ever the result you want, it does end suffering for an animal in need, and that's the point. So just there?
Yeah, maybe.
If that is the only option left to us, then I'm happy to use that option because it's just about ending the suffering as soon as possible.
To stand there and watch wildlife suffer when I know I've got ways and means of helping it, then I think that's our responsibility. It's our job to ensure that all animals have the highest level of welfare from birth until death.
It's been an emotional day, but they've all passed another crucial part of the course.
Smells catty.
Does it?
6 months into their training, and it's clear the students' hard work has so far paid off.
He loves running at you, that horse.
You just want to bring fear into my life.
They may not be qualified, but already the trainees are out there making a difference.
Come on, Squeal. All right, go on, mate. Bye, friend.
After months of very intense learning, I think the students will feel ready now, more than ever, to get out there and do the job. I can see the itchy feet, you know, they just want to go out and get on with it. And that enthusiasm is wonderful. I'd like to bottle that.
But what about Debs and those meerkats? When she first saw them, Tosca and Oleg were in a very sorry state, crammed into a tiny cage and clearly unhappy.
We're not doubting that you love them, it's just making the environment suitable for the species that they are. It's pretty barren in there. There's just very little enrichment in that cage.
But several weeks after her last visit, and their new home is finally complete. Debs has impressed her tutor with her handling of the tricky investigation.
I think Debs did really well with this job. This is a really difficult case for a trainee to lead on. To be honest, it's a difficult case for an experienced inspector to lead on. This was a vulnerable elderly lady. And while you've got to be very much aware of that lady's needs, we can't lose sight of what the issue is with the animals, and we've got to ensure their welfare. And Debs did that perfectly. They're no longer in a small cage and they're in a larger environment. In terms of are they meeting their needs, in terms of the law, then yes, they are. The RSPCA do believe that these animals should not be kept as pets, but we have to work within the parameters of the law.
This case highlights just how far Debs has come as a trainee. But she and the other students can't rest on their laurels.
Oh, I can see the cat. Oh, 2 cats.
The students that make the grade face a summer working alone on probation.
What are you thinking?
Thin.
But time is running out to prove to their tutors they can be trusted running real-life cases.
They're claiming that Lucy is her cat. I'm making no bones, I'm not letting Lucy go.
And the class must rise to the challenge
We're safe, aren't we?
of roped rescue training if they're to hang on to their dreams of becoming inspectors.
Oh no, I'm really scared.
Will everyone make it through their final weeks of training?
A little bit gutted. I missed something obvious.
I think Becky still needs to concentrate a little bit more.
Probably didn't ask enough questions.